Well, I'm Troy. I'm the host. I own a few companies. One is Return Client, and I have a couple of my cohorts here that are supporting good friends of mine, and they actually do some work with me and advice and that sort of thing. And so I'm kind of the LinkedIn guy. And if I'm looking at right now, Jason, if you want to make a quick intro.
Certainly. Good to meet you guys. I'm Jason Smith. I'm the founder of Sales Synergistics. I also work as a full-time consultant with Aslan Training and Development, helping any enterprise sales team improve the performance of their sales organization and how their people go to market through some coaching and training we built over 25 plus years. Happy to be here with you guys. Thank you much for having me, Troy.
Yep, you're welcome. And Rob.
Hey everyone, happy to be here. My name is Rob Bedell. I'm an outsourced or fractional VP of sales. So I help multiple small businesses with their optimizing their sales process, cleaning up their sales messaging. And that's actually one of the first things that I usually do is make sure their value proposition is in line with what the customers want to hear. The one thing, and I offer this to everyone who comes on these calls, if you want help with, if you want to make sure that your messaging is on point, I'd be more than happy to sit down with you and kind of go through it. People are sometimes amazed at with the difference that a slight little change in what you're saying could be, because you need to be speaking in your customer's voice, not in your voice. You're so close to your business sometimes, it's hard for you to take a step back and say, is this really what my customers want to know?
Awesome. So we're going to go down the list since we have a smaller group, less than 20. And the next person I see just directly on the list is Chad. Would you like to
it's my first time on the call. Looking forward to possibly doing more. Financial planner in Deerfield, Illinois. And I just went through like LinkedIn pretty quickly. It looks like Rob and I are actually connected somehow. I've been helping people in transition for over 20 years, whether I meet with them, talk to them, coach them, consult with them. I'm a pretty avid LinkedIn user. I have over 14,000 connections of what I would consider pretty high level people for the most part. If I could pronounce their name and their CFO, CIO, or CEO, I'll connect to them. And if anyone here wants to connect, feel free. And thank you very much. It looks like what you're doing is pretty cool.
Thank you very much, Chad. And that's actually a quick micro segue. If everyone wants to, or if you want to, go ahead, feel free to put your LinkedIn URL in there in order to possibly connect. If you don't, that's totally fine too. So we don't do any like direct business here, but we encourage everyone to send their link out there and connect afterwards if there's something in there that kind of makes sense for you. Matter of fact, I'll do that myself. Awesome. So I'm looking down the list here. Karan.
All right. Nice to meet you, everyone. My second time here. I am the founder of Optimal Access. We make conversational chatbots. And these are digital assistants that you can use to reduce support costs or engage users, get their information. So we help build them, and we also have tools that makes it really easy to manage the content for these chatbots.
I have to add something to what Karan is saying. I had a conversation with him, and I have a chat bot on a couple of my sites. Totally something different, though, which I was very surprised. His chat bot actually goes out to all the blogs and information and pages according to that individual, and assembles that into a smart way. So you're actually asking questions that pertain within a particular realm versus programming a little chat bot for a choice. So it's totally a different thing. I just thought I'd add that because I didn't understand that at first, and I was very amazed by our individual meeting.
Right. I mean, the natural language chatbots are like the next level to the mechanical chatbots that basically run you through a path. This is the ability to be able to have like an open conversation. It's a little trickier than that, but if you put all the content that you want to share into our database, then people just can ask it any question and you'll be able to answer them.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, thank you very much, Karan. And see, Alan.
Yes, good afternoon. This is my first time here, and I'm happy to see everybody over here. I have my background is in quality. So what I can do, I can help the companies to identify the waste in their system by using the Lean and Six Sigma tools, and I can help them to eliminate them. I also able to establish a quality management system. If any company that need to establish a quality management system such as ISO 9001, I'm the one that can able to help them to implement to that. And thank you, Troy.
You're welcome. Thank you for your speech and what you're doing. Let me ask a quick question. When you said waste, are you talking about optimizing systems, or are you talking about something else?
Yes and no. In the Lean, there is 8 different type of waste that is identified. For example, overproduction, or you are overusing the time, or there is a defect in the system. So basically, instead of saying that, okay, I'm going to optimize my system to work more, they say that, okay, I'm going to identify non-value added in the system and how I can eliminate that. Because if we say that non-value added basically is the one that the customer are not paying for it, for example, the customer does not pay for the inspection, the customer does not pay for the boxing, but the customer pay for the packaging and shipping. So the question is how I can eliminate those, the one that the customer does not pay for it, or I can minimize them. There is a tool for those, and I can identify those and help the companies to minimize them. And that's what I'm doing. Yeah. But
sounds okay. Got it. Yeah. So I call that optimization and saving money.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have next is Ian Moore.
There we go. Can you hear me, Troy?
I can.
Hello there. How are you? Are you okay?
Yep.
Nice. Nice to meet for the first time, actually. We've conversed once or twice through LinkedIn, of course. So it's a late evening over here in the UK. So, sorry, Troy, this is my first visit. Should I introduce myself and what I'm about?
Please.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone here. I'm not sure if the number's here. It's this evening over here in the UK, but my name's Ian Moore from Blueprint Business Coaching and Mentoring. I'm here to learn, really. I've noticed Troy, and we linked up recently, and I want to take advantage of utilizing LinkedIn to the best of my abilities. I sort of retired a couple of years ago and got a little bored, so I'm back on the scene offering whatever guidance and help and the knowledge that I've acquired over the years in business. So hi, and thank you for having me, Troy, and everyone. Thank
I
you.
also see it's very cold where you're at. You're bundled in there, aren't you?
I'm bundled in, that's right. And it's pretty mild, actually.
Oh, okay.
But
Awesome.
yeah, okay.
Thank you very much, Ian.
Okay, Troy.
The next person we have is Kim.
Hi, Kim Frederick. I'm a B2B sales specialist at the opposite end of the spectrum from both Jason and Rob. I don't have a business name just yet. I'm working on that because I made a significant shift in what I do this year, not COVID related, but more just eye-opening. And what I do is I work with small business owners and entrepreneurs who just don't have time to sell. And myself and my team take care of that prospecting and bring the leads to them, and we help them, get it so that there is no longer any excuse for not growing. So we help them find clients, and we help them get to that part, help them take advantage of the opportunities they know they can bring in. And this is my first time here as well, and I'm delighted to be here.
Sounds awesome. Thank you, Kim. Yeah, you do something similar. I guess the thing that I find interesting is like, well, we can do everything and then they cannot do anything. And then the selling part, if they can't sell their own product, I said, well, maybe they're not a good client. Sometimes.
Yeah, Kim, I definitely want to chat with you afterwards because I might even have some people I can refer you to.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, and I appreciate that. And actually, Troy, it's interesting what you say, because what I did previous to this was I trained people. I taught them how to have sales conversations and how to be more confident and comfortable doing that. And then the reason for the shift was because I realized that some people want to do that, but most were actually like, can you just do it for me?
Yeah.
And so I can do both. So if you have a sales, a business owner who's like, look, I just need to know how to sell. Okay, I can do that. But if you really just want me to sell for you, well, we can do that too. But yes, Rob, definitely, let's connect.
Yeah, because I have some people that they're not ready to work with me yet.
Rachel,
Right,
do I
right.
know you from Chicago?
You don't know me from
No,
Chicago.
Rachel.
I'm in the DC area, but I was saying to Ian, I sent him a note in the chat. I used to live in the UK, Ian. Whereabouts are you?
Oh, wow. I'll message Rachel.
Sorry, is that directed to me, Ian?
Yes, I was
Hi
asking.
there. Hello there. I'm in West Yorkshire, in
You're
the
in
north.
West Yorkshire.
Yeah,
Okay.
about 30 miles south of York and about 15 miles southeast of Leeds, which you may be familiar with.
Absolutely. I used to live in Bedfordshire, so I absolutely
All right,
know. Yeah. It's
They're
nice
in
to meet you.
serious lockdown, I'm sad to say, at the moment.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
I think we're all feeling that, Okay, I think we missed one person, Rachel.
Yeah. All right. So my name is Rachel Steininger, and yes, Chad, I'm from Chicago. I live in the Lakeview area. And anyway, so to put into context with what all of you do, my whole background, I spent 18 years in the corporate world as a relationship manager and head of client service with some very, very complicated investment funds. And so my role is really to help businesses now, smaller businesses, to get the operations and the customer service right. And it's really about connecting with all of the relationships. So at every stage of that customer journey, a lot of times some of the biggest problems with actually keeping things going in a business is sitting in onboarding, where that handoff from sales to service, people drop the ball, people get upset, you end up with interior tensions, people not taking full advantage of that, what I like to call the referral rainbow, right? How do you get people right back into your system without all of that pressure on marketing? So I work with businesses on that, really taking a human first approach, making sure that all of the individuals involved understand the system that's being used, and kind of getting to all the different psychological factors that are involved, right? You got your salespeople who love meeting KPIs, and you have your craftsmen and the people who just don't. And they're like, I can't even care less about that KPI you're giving me. So my method is really involving everybody at one time, and then making the business work better so that business owner can take a deep breath and relax a little bit more.
Awesome. Sounds like you are aligning people.
It's nice if everybody's working in the same direction. That's like the only way to actually get growth to happen, right?
Yeah, versus tug of war, I imagine.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I think, did I miss anyone? I don't know if anyone jumped. Okay, so that's good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just remind everyone, if you see anyone you want to connect with, just click on the link or save the chat. I will not be emailing this to everyone. I won't be bugging people. Won't be emailing them or anything like that. But definitely go through there and I guess just click on the link and save the tab or send a connection request with them. So at the end of this conversation, I'm actually giving away the version 2 of the daily strategy guide for LinkedIn. And there's actually a little post here. I don't put that link in there. I'll put it again at the end. But there's a little video and people are asking there. I think I already got 700 or 800 views on it. I just posted not too long ago. And I just finished it about an hour ago. So I couldn't give it away before then. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to share my screen, and I kind of want to go through a few major aspects. The first thing I'm going to do is kind of just show you the document and kind of the table of contents. And then I have a little bit of presentation, just kind of breaking down into kind of 3 areas. And I urge everyone to chime in and interrupt. It's totally fine, so I don't really get mad, because I figure I want people to ask questions, because if they do, I may be able to, learn something as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share the screen. And raise a hands if you can see the screen. Awesome. Okay, So this is a PDF I kind of put together, and it's a new version of what we did earlier this year, or was late last year. And it goes through a couple of things about thought process, checking your messages, where to check them from, how to reply, generating two-way traffic. And it's really kind of a daily guide. And so the importance of this is just not to necessarily do this, but to really get a routine down so you're reducing your time. A lot of people waste like 5, 6, 7 hours on LinkedIn. And if you can just figure out like, look, I got a block of 1 hour or 2 hours to do things, and what are the most important things to do? And I put this handsome presentation together, if I can find it. It's underneath one of these windows here. Oh, there it is. Now go in present mode. And I said, you know what? I did not do a presentation last time. I hate presentations. I said, but let me put something together in 30 minutes so I can kind of break apart this kind of presentation. So handsome graphic. I
got it.
Cool, thanks. Daily LinkedIn strategy guide, with return client. I'm the owner of return client. And so the first thing I wanted to do is tell a little bit about myself. I know I mentioned that, but I want to talk about why I kind of created the return client and how it has to do with LinkedIn. I have another company called ISO Interactive, and we built a lot of games, apps, sites, and then systems as well. And so we did stuff for Coca-Cola, Xbox Mobile, did a lot of apps, gamification. And about 10 or 15 years ago, these big agencies or these big companies, these Fortune companies, stopped using agencies. Because in the Atlanta area, you have these large Fortune 500 companies, and then you have the mom and pops. And these companies just stopped using agencies because they're enterprise, and they typically build their teams from within, killing the whole agency model. I think I mentioned it probably before or another meeting that I was what we call a terrible dater, and so it says, what does that have to do with anything LinkedIn? Well, it's all relationship based. Because I was a programmer and a designer, I used to think on my feet very quickly. And I think quite, sometimes I know the answer before the question comes, but most people don't operate that way. You can't, for the dating scenario, you can't go to someone that you like and say, I find you very beautiful. I want to have 3 children with you. They're going to look at you like you're crazy. You may know you want to have 3 children and this is the perfect person for you, but you skip the whole dating scenario. So when you're dating, you have to go through the process of slowly getting to know each other. And that was awful. And so I kind of broke that process down, and that's kind of what saved my company. So we were going outside our normal circles and engaging with other individuals and seeing how we can help them, getting to know, like, and trust. So this whole company came out of a need. It wasn't something I was naturally good at. This is a quick before and after. We had a hard time booking meetings, and this is actually old graphic. My schedule's double this now, but it's all about, excuse me, it's all about booking, filling up your calendar with the appropriate meetings. And one reason we're having this this network meeting right now is to actually reduce those. It's very difficult to do 25 meetings a week. And if you can do 10 instead of that and do one of these, you're actually helping a lot more people with less time, working a little smarter than harder. Now, these 4 things, and I'll pause, and what I want Jason and Rob and everyone else, feel free to interrupt because I jab a lot. But that document really breaks down to kind of 4 components. That first one, know, like, and trust, is more of a mindset. It's getting you in the mindset of how do I approach all these other items, from checking your messages, from replying, to posting content, different ways of engaging. So typically, I will add one thing. When I try to get to know someone, I do the common stuff. I review the past messages. I'll look at the profile, I may look at their site, and I'll try to actually understand who I'm speaking to. So when I mention something about them, I'm talking to them. You know, my goal is to see if I can help this individual. Whether, you know, and help is a relative term. Help can allow them to think about who I can connect them with if it has nothing to do with me. Help could be a solution to a problem and that sort of thing. I don't know if Jason or Rob or anyone else wants to go ahead and chime in there.
Yeah, I'd say the mindset that you focused on and the fact that you're addressing that as a mindset is very important. In the training for both the company that I started at Sales Synergistics and also the company that I work for at Aslan Training, the entire first part of the courses we develop focus on getting sellers to understand the right mindset for how they approach the role, getting people to look at how they approach other individuals, because it's all about relationships, isn't it, right? So if you can get people focused on not trying to sell or trying to convince or cajole, but trying to get to a point where you're building that relationship, building receptivity, you're going to get a lot more sales success with that mindset to start from. Would you agree, Rob? Oh, mute button. There we go.
Mute button. Gotta find that mute button. I'll ask a question of everyone who's on here. Has anyone gotten an email from somebody they never know that just directly went into selling on LinkedIn? Yes? What do you think about that? Did that work really effectively? No, probably not. It gets annoying, and I'm seeing it happen more and more. Actually, I just did a post on this the other day that exploded because again, somebody sat there and said, "Hey, I don't know you. I don't know what your needs are. I don't know your business at all. But I got something that's going to save your day." It's like, okay, well, I'll go down to the used car lot and see what happens. So it is about building a relationship, and I think people forget sometimes that it may not be the person that you're talking to that you end up working with. It may be somebody that they know. And just like I, again, met Kim today, I sat there and said, "Hey, I want to talk to you because I may know some people that are not ready to work with me yet, but you can help out." And so, that's really what LinkedIn is. It's building out your network. I'm sure you've all heard the expression, your net worth is equal to your network. And so when using LinkedIn and getting to know people, don't go for the kill right away. Think about it. When you get those messages, do you want to be that person? Probably not.
Probably not. Well, I do know, I keep on clicking this button. I don't know what I'm doing here.
Why would, if I may interrupt, why would anyone risk buying something from a company that they know nothing about? A direct approach is just ridiculous. I had an occasion earlier today, a guy from over in the States that sells data, and he hadn't even looked at my profile. He just assumed I was in the States, and I was very polite with him, but I tried to put him off, and I suggested he maybe get hold of me in about 9 months' time, and but yeah, you're just not going to deal in business with those kind of guys. Sorry for interrupting.
No, you're not interrupting. You're adding value to the conversation. I would say that sometimes if you have to be direct, you can be direct in a friendly way. For example, if you're using InMail on LinkedIn, you have one message. So in this one message, what would I say? Without sounding like a jerk. You have to present, you have to present yourself. You say, hey,
right? Because somebody has paid for that shot to connect with you or to send a message to you without connecting. And that, I don't mind if it's spammy. I actually feel bad for those people who clearly didn't target me well because they're asking for something. They're like, if you took one look at my profile, you would know that I'm not interested in your graduate study program at such and such university, right? Like I got one of those the other day. I was like, if you look at my profile.
I would love to just jump in here because I actually do go direct, but I don't go direct without actually paying attention to who I'm going direct to.
Yeah.
So it is very highly targeted. I have very carefully researched who it is that I'm reaching out to, and I don't usually do it via LinkedIn. I call. But I love these conversations because LinkedIn is, as you've all said, it blows up with these discussions about people selling immediately upon connecting and whatever. And I had my favorite, and I could share it with you guys, somebody connected with me recently or made a connection request, and I thought, this is interesting. Perhaps they're asking because maybe I can help them. So I responded, and then she immediately wrote back and said, can we help you with your sales? And I wrote back to her and I said, you know, you might want to just read my profile. Then I said, good luck, because, right, like that doesn't make sense. I think it has value. It can have value as a direct outreach, but it has to be done well.
Yeah, I really love that you mentioned that, because it's important that we still remain direct. But again, that whole direct approach right off the bat, trying to sell, your intentions are what's so important. It's your intention to go out and reach out to people to bring value and to help them with their problems, not to sell to them.
Correct.
The thing that they want to know about you first is that you know them, that you understand enough about them to actually give value. So
yeah, and it has to come from a place of service, not sales.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I would say that if I had a one shot, my typical one shot in mail would be, hey, you know, I appreciate you taking a look at this. This is what I do. Here's my profile. If you see any dots in that, I'd love to talk to you further. And that's it, you know, because you're telling them what you're doing, you're being polite, but you're not really selling. Another thing too, as far as calling, if you're reaching out to someone on LinkedIn, there's things what we call time appropriate, right? So if you connected with someone and say a week later you sent them, you know, you send them a welcome, hello, thanks for connecting type of welcome message. Say a week later you had a follow-up, or 2 weeks later, right? So you may send, you know, a few messages, which is okay to do as long as you're not selling, but you also have to realize that, you know what, I want to talk to this person. They connected with me for a reason. After about 30 or 40 days, it may be appropriate to actually make that phone call, you know? And so you have to know where to connect those dots and what is accepted and what's not. And you know, the call can go something along the lines of, you know, I know we've connected about a month ago. Not everyone checks the LinkedIn messages, which is true. They may see you on LinkedIn, they just may not respond to LinkedIn messages. You know, this is what I'm doing. If it makes sense, I would love to have a call. You know, I know that I know that you do A, B, and C. And if they say yes, and great. Even if you get 1 out of 10, you're doing a pretty good conversion, because you have at least some volume going in your direction. You know, another thing that we do, excuse me, is that after 30 days, we may roll to email, because you may have LinkedIn people, and then you have email people. You know, you don't want to bombard them, but you want to space it out appropriately over time. And
happy balance,
of course. Yeah. I'm sorry, Ian.
Sorry, I was just commenting. I was saying a happy balance. Find what works well.
Yeah, and it could be industry specific too, and personality specific. So
yeah,
really,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the things that kind of leads hand in hand with is you got to be speaking to them in their language, and that's one of the things that I wrote in my book. It's like you have to understand, if they speak Spanish and you're speaking Russian, it's probably not going to translate. One of the best bit of advice I ever got was the first month I was doing stand-up comedy, and I was getting paid to go on stage, $25 a night, woohoo! And I went up to this place down in Long Beach, California, and I bombed. Crickets beginning to end, bombed. And I came walking off the stage going, oh my God, maybe I shouldn't do this. And the headliner of the night saw me, he grabbed me, he's like, hey kid, come here. He goes, this is a blue collar audience. It looks like your audience had long hair at the time. He goes, who's your influence? I'm like, well, George Carlin. He goes, okay, yeah. You didn't adjust your message so they could hear you. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, I'm the headliner of the night. I've already adjusted my message. I know who this audience is. You have 15 to 20 seconds to understand who you're talking to and how to talk to them in a way that they will understand you.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key thing. And we went into this a little bit. Are they on LinkedIn? No, they don't. You didn't respond on LinkedIn. Well, email. Well, email doesn't work. Phone call. Text them. You have to figure out what works for, and again, different generations respond differently. So you have to understand who you're talking to. Yep, who you're talking to and how they're going to respond.
Yeah, I don't understand why the younger generation wants to have full conversations in text, because I misunderstand. I'm like, what do they mean? Like, so I have a problem with that. I did notice that Spanish jokes if you translate them directly to English, it's all curse words. So it doesn't make any sense at all. So I'll move on to the next thing is about checking and replying your messages. And I'll go over the general items, and a lot of stuff is in that PDF. But if you had a routine and you had to knock it out, you know, generally these messages, you want to at least touch them, you know, as soon as possible, but at very least within 24 business hours. So there's several different major areas that you can check. Of course, is your LinkedIn message box. You know, you want to check that daily. The other area that a lot of people forget are the notifications. Notifications are posts, you know, your posts, other posts. And my eye really keys into the people who actually post comments on your post. So I'm finding out that my post is generating between 20 and 30% of my business. So it's a big chunk of information going in and out, and people engaging with you and that sort of thing. The other thing, of course, is email. And then if you're involved in any groups, whether it be LinkedIn groups or Facebook groups, you know, I try to systematically hit all of them within a very short period of time. Another thing I do is I have a cheat sheet. And a cheat sheet is, and that's one of my documents I'm gonna give away, I think next week. A cheat sheet allows me to have all my links that I need, all the important information, all the booking links, the PDF, the most recent posts that may engage in certain subjects, FAQs or Q&As, excuse me, commonly, you know, asked questions, so I can at least grab the substance of the conversation and change it based on the individuals asking questions. And a lot of times I manually answer the question. Of course, I feel more comfortable doing that. It really depends on what style you have. And then having that sitting there and just going through that list today. My company actually produces a daily list. And so that helps me a lot. And I'm not saying everyone has to do that, but I have a spreadsheet, and we have people that go through my LinkedIn and they identify the importance of that message. Are they interested? Maybe. Other, not interested, right? And that allows us to put people on the do not disturb list. That allows me to concentrate on groupings at a time. Oh, this group is interested. So my frame of mind is kind of going in one direction, and I can go through that pretty quickly and systematically. These people are not interested. These people are other, and other is a big category. Other is the biggest category because what it means is they could be selling you, sure. They could be talking about something else, which is conversational, and those conversations actually build, you know, relationships. So those are kind of the areas, you know, that I find that I typically check, excuse me, daily at a certain time, so I can get that out of the work, get that out of the way. Excuse me, it's so dry in here because I have these lamps. I bought these lamps in here, and I think they're generating a lot of heat.
You're also gaining a suntan.
Yeah, I need to get a humidifier or something. When you're checking inbound conversations, I don't know if anyone has any advice on that as far as where to check, but those are the places I check. I don't know, Kim, you're kind of in the same field as I am. Do you suggest any other places to be systematic as far as replying, if the clients are replying for themselves, or what you do for the clients?
No, actually, I don't get involved in LinkedIn for my clients. So I can't offer anything useful here.
Oh, it's okay. I apologize. All right. So the other thing is talking about how to reply. And that has to do a lot to do with the communication style and that sort of thing. And I was thinking, how can I serve that individual? So my document has a bunch of examples of certain situations and how to reply to that. And Kim, I would like you to take a look at that document and then make suggestions as well. So this is the things that were working for me. But when you're actually replying to people, it doesn't have to be LinkedIn. It just has to be communicating back in order to kind of build that, build that relationship up to a certain point. Does anyone have any things to talk about as far as how you reply? And I can go through the document, but
I would imagine that a lot of it depends on the type of organization or the individual that you're speaking to. Rob mentioned earlier about identifying and knowing the language. It could be a particular speak within a sector. So again, it's about being prepared, doing your homework, and being true to yourself, of course, but delivering a good message, building on that trust, working towards, that trust element. So I think it's just doing your homework, making the right approach. And do you know what? It doesn't have to be a long, drawn out process. The moment will present itself when you want to take that conversation offline via email, or, it will present itself. Sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes it can be really quick. So there's no real right or wrong about it, I would imagine.
no, very good point. And it makes me realize that I have a technical function that I do when I'm replying to messages. And I mentioned it earlier today. I look at the message thread, when those messages, I looked at the thread and I said, what were we talking about? Who's this person? And I look at the profile, and if I have to, I'll look at their site, and then I can go beyond that as well and dig into that and look at other areas. But typically it takes about 60 seconds of research, not much, to grasp that person, the conversation, how I can reply, how can I serve this person? And by serving them, I'm not talking about always doing business. I'm talking about literally helping them. If there's something I can help them with, they have a question, I may have an answer. If they need help with someone and I'm not in that area, I may be able to point them in the right direction. Matter of fact, I had a call today, and this guy, he helps market cannabis companies, right? I don't know anything about that. I'm allergic to THC. I can't even do that stuff.
That's your story.
Yeah. I'm sticking to it. But I said, there's been about at least 5 or 6 people that reached out for me for marketing for cannabis. I said, all I have to do is go to my sales navigator, run a search, keyword cannabis, and then and those people, and those 5 or 15 people on my network, and I said, let me run an introduction, because at the end of the day, they're going to say, you know what, Troy ran an introduction. He's a good guy. I may not be able to use what Troy's doing, but maybe someone will, on the off chance. And all these things in order to convert sales are about these little steps, these little gaps to fill.
I think one of the things that Ian said, it really needs to be honed in on. You got to be true to yourself. You got to be who you are. I mean, I actually help a lot of businesses with their sales copy and stuff like that. But I sit down with the business owner and I learn their personality and learn who they are and learn about their business. Because if I start their messaging and it sounds like me, and then they all of a sudden start talking to Troy, they're gonna be like, you're not the same. What the heck? You're completely different than what I thought you were. And so you really, what Ian said is dead on. You have to be true to who you are and speak, learn their language, but speak in from yourself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree.
You have to keep the messages short. If a text had a baby with an email, think about that. Seriously, a text, well, the younger generation has long text, but texts are originally supposed to be very, very short. Emails are a little more verbose. Well, you get something in between, and you keep it as short as possible, because no one wants to have entire conversations on LinkedIn. It's just too much, and it
I'll say to that point you made, Troy, about the length and the size of the email, form follows function, doesn't it, right? So the function of your reply, as you're replying to a message, there's a couple of things that need to happen. And I'm trying to say this as simple as I can, but the right reply kind of presupposes a couple of things from the seller's perspective that you should be able to do, that you can look at the message that went out and understand the intent of what you were sending out and to whom you were sending it to. You knew what you were trying to do when you sent it, because you have an understanding of their buying process, how they make decisions about what you provide. And you have for yourself an internal sales process. So you know the steps to move them from one step to the other. The things that you can do, say, and ask that would get them to move from one step in their thought process to the next. So as you send an email out, it should be to a specific persona. You made the comment, I think, Ian, about the different people who you're reaching out to, what kind of organization. Your outreach should be around those specific things. And Troy, you're really good about getting your clients to kind of identify who they're trying to reach out to. So those messages is for a purpose. And whatever reply you get, assess where they are in their thought process based on what they say. If they're asking this kind of question, this is where they are in their process, and you have a response that should work better. You've got a sales process that will move them to the next step in their decision.
You're absolutely right. If I had to say that in one
they're all intentional.
I'm sorry, Jason, I interrupted you. What were we saying?
No, just about the replying, making sure that all your first messages and your responses are all intentional to move them through your sales process.
Yeah, makes sense. If I had to wrap that up in one sentence, I would say provide clarity for a fourth grader.
Okay.
Literally. You know, because no one likes to be super complicated unless you're talking to someone complicated, you know, unless that fits. But most people, it doesn't. So I add that clarity at a fourth grade level, you know, short and sweet. As far as posting content, you know, I think last week we talked about posting, and we have an evergreen article on the different things to post, the length of the videos, the type of content, how to create videos and all that. And in the PDF, you know, the daily guide to LinkedIn, I have a link to that as well. So I always find that video is very strong. I know that providing those visual PDFs with the big words are very popular now. They take a little more time to do, but videos are so easy to create, especially if you think about it doing something in a series. Like my current series is doing a document series. All these documents, like this one right here, that, well, not this document, it's a PDF. This is a PowerPoint, but the PDF document that I'm providing for daily strategy is just one of like a dozen documents I have, right? And so I said, you know what? I use these for internal processes, but anyone that has any kind of marketing or they want to do this themselves, this would be very helpful to them. I said, why don't I just go ahead and create a video series out of it? And so I typically create like a kind of a 1 minute type of a video, and I bring it into Vidnami, which is a software that adds the words to it, you know? So it bumps up that professionalism one level. It's not super professional and they have all this animated stuff going on, but half of the people that are viewing videos watch the video without the sound, you know? And so you kind of want that. Of course, you have your other things like you're posting your images and then content and then documents is big. But I want to kind of ask the audience, you know, what type of content that kind of works for you, or format or type, or what kind of content you tend to want to publish that seems engaging to your audience?
I 100% get the most engagement from text only. I've played with text plus video plus image plus I've done video and I've done text only, and text only always is winning.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's new.
And it surprised me, but it 100%.
Okay.
I saw a similar trend, and I'm still stubbornly focused on video. There's so much more teaching I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to put content out that can be evergreen, come back and find it. So I need it to be video, but in terms of engagement, as we kind of, you know, look ahead to the next topic on our little list here, engagement has been higher with well thought out texts that kind of reference people in the message, that are going to specific people, that I'm tagging right people, hashtagging the right things. That has gotten a lot more response sometimes than a video.
So when you say text, what kind of text? I mean, what are you putting out as text?
I'll lean on Kim first, and then I'll tell you what kind of stuff I was doing.
Well, I tend to try to put out things that are useful. I ask questions, or I give hints and tips, or, you know, that kind of thing. I try to make it so that there's something to either be thought provoking or valuable. And I'm not super thought provoking because, well, I'm Canadian, so, you know, we don't like to rock the boat, and but it seems to work. And I tell you, the thing that had the greatest amount, I had a post that was just astronomical, and it was where I had actually included a visual, and it was about this delegation chart, you know, where you should do it, the one you should never do it, someone else should do it, and I had like 5,000 engagements with that piece. But it was mostly text.
This is on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
How many followers do you have?
Not that many, about 2,000.
Wow. That's
Yeah, LinkedIn will get certain things that they see that they deem that may be popular, and they'll boost certain things. So if a lot of people are talking about the same stuff, it may be saturated in that area. Now, Jason, I'm gonna let you know that the views of videos is not the same as views of text, because people have to watch 3 seconds of the video in its entirety, and they have to be full on screen and stuff like that. What I gauge stuff is based on engagement, you know? And so if you're doing videos, that they generally have to be really short, because, and I think I was talking to Rachel on another meeting, where we talked about the length of the videos and stuff. If they see anything like 4 minutes, 6 minutes, 10 minutes, scroll. Their brain can't handle that. But they see 58 seconds, okay, I'll watch that, you know? And so there's strategies behind some of the things. What I do is I actually have a lot of content in there, in the video supporting content. And so that's kind of my strategy. I don't really get 5,000 views. I averagely get about 1,500 to 2,000 views, you know, per video. But for every 1,000 views, you know, and this is over the course of a few days for the videos. For every 1,000 views, I always end up getting 1 or 2 meetings, you know. So that's my metrics.
You trailed off. You always get 1 or 2 what now?
I said I always get 1 or 2 meetings for every 1,000 views, you know, especially for the videos. And so that's a good metrics for me. Different industries may be different, but so
important to be said too is something that we talked about, Troy. You do qualify those, right? So it's not just the 1 or 2 meetings, like that's the 1 or 2 you choose to have. You're very intentional about who you meet with.
Well, even my booking link, when you talk about engaging, if they want my booking link, they have to fill that form out. They have to say, I got to figure out who they are while we're talking. I even put budgets in there. I'm like that, you know, because I like to have talks, you know, even if they don't have a budget, it's fine. But the concept of them filling that document out is like, this is important enough to have a meeting, you know? And so I've actually added questions that allow me to understand that person better. Something as simple as, what is your LinkedIn URL? I get 20, 25 meetings a week. Do you think I'm gonna remember who I talked to last week?
It's a form of closing, isn't it? You know, it's commitment levels.
Yeah, so I want to be prepped for the meeting and with the least amount of work. You know, I said, okay, I see what they're doing. I get what they're saying. Oh, they're for this subject. I know how to excuse me. I know how to have this conversation, you know? So, if I go out there and they're engaging with me, you know, it's more of figuring out who's kicking the tires, you know, so to speak. And also, if they just need a meet and greet, that's totally fine. But I know the mindset of the conversation. And at the end of the day, you know, I want to help them, regardless if I make money or not. You know, I really don't care as long as I make my quota. My quota is like +1 a month, +1 client a month. So I have a residual SaaS model, and it ranges about $1,500 to $5,000 a month. If I get one, and +1 means if a client drops off, I need to take care of them. So I never get down to 0, or down to the same. So I want to step. And so it being a residual model, it's pretty healthy to kind of look at that. So that means most of the conversations are either I need to onboard someone, or I need to help someone with a situation, or we need to talk through the system, or it's a meet and greet and that sort of thing. So that works out, you know, pretty well when I'm engaging. And I always think if I'm going to help someone, it's nothing but good energy going out in the universe. Because, you know, some people just say, Troy, you're such a nice guy because you're helping people. Well, even if I was a total jerk, I would still help you because it's good business. You know, just think about that, because if you're helping someone, there's there's one of three things that can happen. They're happy, they're positive, and they go on in their life, and they appreciate your help. They apply whatever you tell them, and they say, this thing really works, but I don't have time for it. I'm gonna get Troy to do it, you know? So it's good.
But Troy, you're clearly coming from a good place, and it takes time to learn that and about individuals, and it's all part of what we're discussing, which is getting to know the individual, earning someone's respect, earning trust.
Yeah.
This is our first conversation today, and I'm already liking you lots. So, you know, you're making good points for me today.
I mean, Troy, I just want to share, this is advice I got when I started selling 30 years ago, and it has always worked. And the point that they made was that even if the person doesn't buy from you, and tomorrow they hear somebody that may need the product that you're selling, then you get a referral. So you always want to be a mensch at the end of
That
the
was my
day.
number 3. I think we're on the same wavelength. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you've helped them and they appreciate it, you're the go-to guy. You know.
Not everyone's a facilitator, though. You're a very good connector, clearly, Troy. But not everyone has that same composite. Not everyone has the same nature, and that's part of learning that. And you are a great connector, clearly.
Well, I appreciate that, and that's why people will hire me, because they're awful at it. So I'll connect it for them. I'll make it happen. You know.
And that's a key thing to keep in mind is basically hire your weaknesses. I mean, it's something that that I learned when I wrote my book, because I knew I had to get an editor, so I was like, okay, gotta get an editor. But when it came to formatting, I wanted somebody to teach me how to do it so I couldn't do it the next time. After about a week of doing it with this lady, she's like, okay, now we get to the hard part. I was like, what? Now's the hard part? I was like, okay, if I just gave it to you, would it be easier? She goes, yes. So I just gave it to her. An hour and a half later, she had it back to me. I was just like, and I didn't take my own advice. Hire what you don't know. You don't need to know everything. And as long as you know what you don't know, yeah, you might want to hire Troy as a facilitator. Yeah, you might want to hire Kim to do the selling for you. So just, find out the things that you're not good at, or not even that you're not good at, that you don't want to do. You might know how to do it, but God, I hate doing it. There's somebody out there that loves doing it.
Well, now might come in a totally different personality, than what you're used to, right? We tend to be drawn to people who are very similar to ourselves, and yet the person you might need might be the polar opposite in personality. And in any other situation, you're like, I don't really feel like this isn't a person I would mesh with, or it's not a person I would spend my social time with, but they are a great person for you to be doing business with because they complement you in so many different ways.
Definitely makes sense. It's all about engagement. So we talked about some of the engagement items that we do. We talked about where we're engaging, whether it be LinkedIn messaging or email or even phone calls and stuff like that. I don't know if anyone wants to talk anymore about engaging, but I don't. What time is it as well? We're on the top of the hour almost. So I'll go ahead, and I did this graph, and I think it's kind of useless, but it kind of nothing moves in a straight line. You can start with planning. You can do your strategy. You can do all your opt-in campaigns. Write your content. We can realign the process. I have a Mac mouse that clicks on everything, and you can have and then you can, once you align, it starts going up. So there's some times where certain things are out of your control, and it's never, but you try to align it as best you can, and over time it gets stacked up into your favor, and so that's what that thing's about. The other
knowing and understanding that is equally important, Troy. That's part of life, part of business, isn't it?
Definitely. I learned a lot of stuff over the last couple of years, and most of it's like what not to do, or who not to talk to, or when to shut my mouth. That's a big one I learned. I'm like, this person's wrong, but it's not worth arguing over. It doesn't matter who's right or wrong,
You're getting old.
Yeah, I don't have the patience for certain things. I say, yeah, that makes sense, especially if they're a partner, for a technology partner that does something. I'm thinking, You know, I was like, yeah, okay, because I already know I'm not gonna win. I'm not gonna win that. So
Real quick, Troy, I'm gonna jump in here on behalf of two of your guests. We got people all the way from the continent of Africa that wanted to make sure they introduced themselves and got their contact information in the chat line. So I just wanted to, in case anyone needs to drop at the top of the hour, let our last two guests introduce themselves before we get out of here.
please do.
It looks like don't want to mispronounce it, but Kwesi, can you introduce yourself?
He needs to turn his microphone on.
Yes, Mr. Turkson, can you find the mute button? Bottom left of your screen? There we go.
Hi, I'm Kwesi Texan, and I'm working with Ostan on return clients.
Awesome.
Oh, hey, that's what you sound like. Awesome. So you work for Austin.
Yes, please.
Is he online as well? I see him
Yep.
there.
Yeah, he's online.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
Can you tell everybody about yourselves?
Guy.
Yeah, I've been working in the IT space for the last 7 years in a construction company, a road construction company. Currently, I'm trying to figure out some one or two things. So I'm just working with Ostan at the moment.
Oh,
Looking for a contract, probably.
well, Austin, I see you on there. You might as well jump on and introduce yourself and tell me about all the stuff you do that I don't know.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Ostan Padun. The surname must be maybe a little difficult to pronounce. It's Padun Simple. I'm also into IT. I did programming, desktop application development, and web development. I work as a webmaster at FCWC, which is an organization made of 6 countries in West Africa. And I'm also a virtual assistant and help desk assistant as a return client. I also work as I'm still working with a company, a litigation company in the United States, remotely. They do a lot of stuff, and I'm also working as a software tester for Ken that you know already. Yeah, so that's
I know I'm saying for I want to say what, 6 months, 8 months, a year.
For who?
How long have we known each other? Have we worked together? Like
I started at the 1st April with you.
I'm so bad at dates. I will tell you that I was saying he picks up stuff very quickly, and he's very good at process oriented, and he takes training very well. So thanks for joining the meeting. And
Thank you.
I learned something new about you today. I didn't know you did all that stuff. Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what we have here, it is time to wrap up and everything. But what I have right here is a link on LinkedIn. What I want everyone to do, if they can, or if they want the PDF, is go to that link and just ask for it there. That way I have some engagement in that post, and I'll go on LinkedIn and send you the daily guide, the daily PDF we just finished up today.
That would be great.
Yeah, so feel free. I'll stay online. Everyone else is welcome to go ahead and drop off. I'll stay online for another 2-3 minutes in case someone wants to get that link or they want to chit chat. All right.
Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay. Pleasure to meet you all. Thank you very much for the invitation. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.